I'm sorry. I guess this has to be like part two. My camera data was full. The last recording I was doing, it abruptly cut off because I had run out of space. So I've cleaned out some of the space, taken care of that a little bit, and I'm, as I speak, currently uploading the video I just completed so I can later practice editing, start editing on that, and let it and let it cure. Let it cure. I want to allow it to cure before I um, upload it. A day or two. I'm not sure how long. I'm trying to get into a rhythm here, um, but I don't even know exactly where this cut off. I was over by the car, over there by the car, and finishing up, attempting to finish up a story. Well, not a story, but a little bit about my growing up. And so I don't know again exactly where it cut off. If I repeat myself, I tend to do that a lot anyway. I apologize. But as I was saying, as best I recall, I was talking about how I would be a student, a little girl in class, um, in a fantasy world, daydreaming, flying around the world, and all that kind of stuff. And I got into trouble. I started getting into trouble about that, but I felt like it was more fun, and I didn't care about. I'd rather get into trouble for that than get back to the routine of constantly getting in trouble for talking to classmates. So I just went into my own world, and uh, and sometimes I was in that world, even when the teacher was ready to maybe collect all the papers or engage us somehow. Maybe she had collected the papers. Maybe she was asking questions, and she would have to sometimes call my name 2 or 3 times, Varia, like snap me out of it, to answer a question. I usually answered correctly, but and that seemed to frustrate her, annoy her more. But anyway, I grew up, like I said, living a nightmarish existence for a part of my childhood. The first 7 years, a lot of chaos, uh, some a use happened to my brother and I, and we again were saved by that. That's a long story. I hope to write about it. It's so long. It's best for me to sit down and I want to write books, do my writing, my memoirs. So I entertained myself as best I could, fantasizing a lot. That was my escapism. And going to school, like I said, may have said it was a refuge for me, a haven. I loved school. That was a place where there was more order and predictability and a sense of security that was lacking in my family of origin home situation. So when I was removed from that and put in foster care, we were 3 of us managed to stay together. It was my brother and I, and by then their first daughter, my sister, who is 7 years younger than me. So she was a baby caught into the trap of Department of Children and Family Services. 3 younger kids managed to mostly grow up with our mother. They went away for a while, but she managed to get them back. But us 3, the first ones that were pulled from the home, judges never let her get us back. But she refused to sign papers to allow adoption to take place. She at least had some rights, some degree of some rights or something where they would have to actually have her sign consent or something like that to totally give up her custody. Um, and she absolutely refused. And she tried to get us back a few times, you know. And we ended up in a foster home. The three of us were in a foster home, the first placement for 1 year, and about 1 year, I'm estimating. Then we were abruptly removed from that home and put in a more long term placement where we ended up staying. I stayed until I was 17. By the time we got there, I was 8ish, 9 maybe. My birthday is the end of the year, you know, time frames, dates, and stuff, get mixed up. But I remember when we got to the second home, my sister was learning to walk. She would have those little hard bottom shoes. I don't know that they make those kind of shoes anymore for babies, kids, toddlers. And she'd be taking a few steps and kept falling down, falling down. She could never just walk from one, like the hallway, from one end to the other without falling down. Like her knees would buckle. And eventually, long story short, she was taken to the hospital. And then I didn't see her for a while. They took her away. And I remember saying, "Where's my sister? I want to see my sister. Where's my sister?" And she's in the hospital, they explained to me. And I want to go see her. And they explained to me children were not allowed. So she ended up in the hospital for, I'm not sure, weeks, months, I'm not sure. But when she finally made it out of the hospital and we got her back, I remember examining her probably like a mother examines their newborn. I was looking all over, and I saw these. I didn't know what they were, like lesions, bumps, wounds on her wrists and ankles, and I was upset, curious, upset, angry. What is this? What are these? And it was explained to me that she had to be fed intravenously for a period of time. And that's where the needles would be placed, and they had to change them up. And for a while they used one, and then another, and they had to move them up to all four of her extremities long enough to create and leave these scars. I think they were like what's called keloid um, type of wounds. But anyway, um, way after the fact, I found out, I learned that my sister had severe malnutrition, rickets, spinal meningitis, and apparently went through a pretty rough. She got really sick to the point they didn't think she would survive, and hallelujah, she did pull through, obviously. But yeah, she got extremely sick. Now, I remember having times when, before getting into the foster home, where we would go to bed hungry. A lot of times, there was not a lot of food or whatever, and and I would sneak from my plate food over to my brother because he seemed to always have a healthier, bigger appetite than me. And I was told later that my stomach accommodated for that situation by shrinking. Anyway, um, so that's just to give some examples of some of the things as a child we went through. Trauma in childhood follows people sometimes, and causes post traumatic stress disorder and whatnot, um, to a point of sometimes being almost pretty debilitating. And I'm today, hallelujah, I'm under doctor's care. I see a therapist at least monthly, once a month. I was a client of MHDD, Texas Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities. It used to be called MHMR, Mental Health and Mental Retardation, but that's no longer an acceptable word. That are words. So anyway, it was changed to MHDD, Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities. And for a while there, I was on different meds and whatnot for severe depression and you know um, symptoms that were pretty uh, aggressive, flashbacks and that kind of stuff didn't hit me bad. It didn't start bothering me. The flashbacks real bad intensely didn't start bothering me until after I hit 50 years old. My 50s, 60s, early, 60s. Anyway, the nightmarish childhood situation um, is a great contrast to what I live today because I dreamed about being surrounded by nature. And so, one reason, it's so therapeutic to me. So, one reason I'm desperately trying to hold on to this dream, not lose. I'm trying desperately to not lose my shipping container. And it's looking like, I'm real close to losing it because of financial situations, going through a divorce right now and living on Social Security and having exhausted all the savings I had at one time. So I'm doing side hustles. I've tried some DoorDash. I'm going to try some more DoorDash. I'm a co-author. A book just came out, an anthology. We got published through Amazon last year. I'm trying to sell some books. I have to buy the books wholesale. And hopefully I'll sell some more books. It's already February 10th. So we were talking about Saturday, maybe February 15th. So 2 Saturdays this month. Hopefully I'll be able to set up a new authors table at our community public library. I've already had an opportunity to set up a new authors table in a bookstore and a senior citizen facility and community center facility, and got a few sales that way. But I've not yet gotten my marketing up where I've been able to sell books enough to correct my income and catch up. Like I've fallen behind now on the lot rent here. First, for 3 years, I've been managing to keep it up, but now that's not the case right now. I'm in a temporary bind. I even set up something like a GoFundMe page for myself through angellinks.com. I found that site and I just don't have time and energy to just attend to that. And it's like that could be a full-time job, just, and if I were totally homebound, I guess I would have no choice. But while I can get up and get out and move, every chance I get, I'm trying to do things that might bring in quicker money, and I'll refocus attention to that page, that fundraising page, as I can. I'm dealing with some effects, symptoms now of mild to moderate traumatic brain injury, and so technical things give me the biggest problems, for lack of a better word, challenges, and I'm limited. I only have this Android phone right now and an iPad my daughter bought me, and I have a laptop. And I'm learning, and there is a gentleman I found out that gives free help assistance classes to seniors or anyone once a month at a community center called Dietert. It used to be Dieter's Senior Center, and now it's Dietert Community Center. And I did finally get in one of his group last week. He sat with me and went over a few things with me. I took my laptop in and my iPad. And of course, I can't keep my phone with me almost all the time. And he sits down with each person who comes and helps you with things that,